terms of along the journey, when you take on that AI journey and you're implementing things, like how can we basically envision our progress, right? So how we like how, some of these things are happening right now in a small way. Some things probably happen in the future. Like for example, if we see, we're all using some models, either it's OpenAI models or Gemini models or some other models, to basically ask questions and get a response out of it. And one of the first use cases that companies start with that is basically, like I said, customer service or enterprise search kind of use cases, where they basically plug in all their internal data and they're already getting value out of it. The second is where it's almost like having an assistant agent who knows how to do certain things, with a human in the loop, right? So, and the third one is, it's some level of autonomous way of doing things by the agents, where they do the reasoning, planning, they orchestrate things between different agents, and they can get done a unit of work just like how a human would get done in like a fairly accurate and robust way, right? So the four is full AI workforce. So here it's, this is like a little bit of a, like people are talking about it, but we don't know exactly when this will happen, how long it will take. It might take 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or it may never happen, right? So what people are talking about is how these different autonomous agents basically work with each other to fully do a particular job role. The things people quote in order to support it is, it seems like 70% of the job roles that existed in 1940, they don't exist anymore. What that means is, things kind of transition, right? So what that could also say is, the roles that we will have in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or 15 years, 20 years from now, it could be totally different. And this, what this full AI workforce mean is, these agents, right now we are all using the foundational models that are built by OpenAI and like other big companies, because it's very expensive to train those models. And now people, like, there are techniques available where, let's say if I want to train a finance controller, very specific to my firm, we can train a model which acts like which knows everything about what things that needs to be taken care as a finance controller within the context of an organization, right? So the technology is available right now to do something like that, but it's very expensive to do it. So not every company can afford it. So that's why the people talk about, just like large language model, LLM, people talk about SLM, which is small language model, which can be distilled from the large language model. So you don't need everything that large language model knows. You want to build a small language model which is distilled from the large language model in terms of certain capabilities, but then you kind of train that small language model on a very specific domain. It could even be within the context of your organization. And then your agents that you are building, they don't use a generic large language model, but they use this small language model which is custom built for your organization. Then your accuracy of things really kind of improves. You can also think of it as, right now, like if we take a private equity firm, where is the knowledge? It's basically with the people, right? So they are the ones who kind of know, how do we basically evaluate a particular deal, and how do we basically make that, yes, we want to go forward with it or not with it. It's all kind of in their process, in how, like in their skills and the DNA of the firm. So how about, and it's kind of codified in people who work in that firm. How about if we can basically build agents backed by the models that are built on the context of that organization? Context of the organization essentially means the DNA of that organization. Now there is an agent which is basically using a model built with the DNA of the organization, so that agent is as good as an employee of a firm who has all the context, probably that 40 years that we were talking about, everything that happened in the organization, they kind of know the decisions that worked out for them, didn't work out for them. all that is there in that model. And now because that agent is using that model, they also know everything, and everything, the tasks that they do, the decisions that they make can be basically based on that enriched context.